comic book time now, okay? Generation 1 Jetfire in the comic book run. Really interesting way that he comes into being. Shockwave now, if you remember from the Ray original comic books, he has, I think he's incapacitated is the best way, all of the Autobots. Optimus Prime's head has been removed, and Shockwave thinks that the Matrix or the power is still in Optimus Prime's head. And he creates this, that's why Jetfire is a jet. Shockwave created him obviously on the basis of Seeker jets. He wants something that he can command who's big and strong and powerful. So he builds Jetfire, but Jetfire now at this point is just a lifeless body running on the commands of Shockwave. And he tries to give it life, but he can't because the Matrix or whatever it was in the original comic book run has been passed to Buster Wiki, if I recall, so that's in his head. So the head of Optimus Prime is of no use to him. He needs to find Buster, and eventually does get Buster, and then Buster gives it a sort of, he gets into the cockpit and controls him like a large mech, and you know, now he's acting against Shockwave, and Shockwave's a bit pissed off, and then eventually all that transpires is that he is given life, but he still ends up being a Decepticon for a very brief period of time. Fights one of the Dinobots. Dinobot then threatens to throw him into Ravage. He strikes a deal, if I recall, and it doesn't come true. And eventually he is a good heavy hitter of the Autobots. And he has a really well developed character in the comic books, especially Target 2006 it is. I mean, he really comes into his own because he's trying to lead the Autobots on in that scenario, because you know they haven't got Optimus Prime, they haven't got Jazz, they're down a lot of troops, they're facing a Decepticon like Galvatron, who they're, you know, he's ultimately more powerful than Megatron is at the time. So yeah, they really got their hands tied, and Jetfire is one of the ones, you know, really pushes forwards, and that really is, you know, the integral part of the character. He is a superb character in the comic book. He's not portrayed so large in the comic because he's in the actual cartoon, but you know, you're gonna have to mix the two together. I mean, just don't think too much about it, all right? Now there is a G2 variation which I think runs along the lines. Now I'm not sure offhand, but I think later on in the line of they did sort of like split the difference between Skyfire and Jetfire, and there were two different characters. I think maybe in the American continuity. Please don't take that as gospel because it's sketchy. I can't remember. I'm sure that happened in the US comic book run and not the UK one, because we seem to focus a lot more on G2 over here, where you guys sort of didn't. But anyway, there you go. That's just sort of like a basis of Jetfire and where he come from, the origins, and you know why they literally buggered up the toy, and he looks nothing like it. Now let's take a look at the toy, shall we? It's a very vintage Valkyrite jet toy, and as you know, they're essentially large mechs, a bit like Macross. So, you know, I was thinking of something else. I just said Macross, and then Valkyrite. Are they the same thing? Yeah, they are, aren't they? Ow, that'll hurt later. That will hurt. But it won't hurt my head, because there's nothing in there. Alright, let's take a look at the top. Now, he still demands a reasonable amount of money, because you get a lot of cream Jetfires. You know, you do not want a cream. You want a whiter than white Jetfire. But most of the time you will get cream Jetfire, and he will be missing his armour. And mine is no exception, unfortunately. He is missing a lot of the armour. This is it. This is it. I don't have the armour for the legs and the forearms there. He's never really worried me because he displays so well like this, and I was quite pleased. I mean, I paid, and I've had him for a long time. I paid about 40. No, it wasn't, was it? I paid 60 quid, I think, for this one. And he's quite white. He's quite nice. Stickers on it are worn on mine. The Autobot insignia is missing, and as I said, I'm missing essentially most of the armour. Do be careful when picking these up. They tend to crack all around here. Now you've got a die-cast metal here, which seems to react to the plastic when it gets older, and on the arms. And it just literally, it just flakes away, the plastic from the metal. I don't know, they don't react too well together. Such as die-cast, it's a dying art. Actually, it's a dead art. Who sees die-cast figures anymore? So let's talk about the toy. He is a nice size. He's always stood really well. He's an impressive figure on the shelf. It's a shame that he doesn't, you know, resemble the cartoon or the comic book continuity Jetfire, but be that as it may, he is a really nice looking figure. And he has a third mode now. On the third mode, I think, briefly, in one episode, you will find him in the Valkyrite mode, which is essentially him stooped forwards. If I can, on camera, actually, let me just put it into the second mode for you. before you say anything, please don't comment at the bottom going, it's not right, you can't even transform it. Sod off. I haven't got time for you. If it's mistransformed, my fault. I most undoubtedly have got it wrong. So, I apologise in advance. I'm just trying to give you an idea of this sort of like freaky, sort of like second triple changer mode that he has. It is very similar to this. I don't know the reason behind it. I don't know anything about the Macross Vikerite jet thingies. But apparently there was a reason why he would half transform and then walk around like that, Maybe he just wants to shove his thing in there like that. I don't know. I didn't make it. I wasn't there. But that's sort of like the weird sort of secondary mode. And I know it's wrong. So don't point out the bleeding obvious to me, alright? Thank you. Let's carry on. So there we go. That's sort of like the secondary triple changing mode. And may I point out the difference when I say cream on white. Now this bit is here because it's been covered most of the time when he's been transformed, and that's been exposed to the sunlight. Now I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but yeah, I think you can see the difference. Cream, white. That was the colour that he was when he was brand new, and that's the colour he is now. So you see what I mean? If you really want a spot on, top notch Jetfire, you're going to have to pay a lot of money, because most of the time he'd be cream fire. And there you go. So that's his freaky weird mode. Now let's get on to the jet mode, shall we? Ta-da! And there we go. And Jetfire in jet mode. And you've got to say, I've got to say, what an impressive figure this is. Even without all the armour and stuff on top of it, it makes a bloody good jet, is all I can say. I love the way that they utilise the head under here, and sort of like giving it sort of like an under turret gun there. Something you get on one of the old flying fortresses from World War II. Their belly gunner at the bottom there. That's brilliant. And it even rotates. I mean, that's just freaking awesome. What a superb looking jet. You can't fault this, can you? I mean, the only way you could say it's terrible is if you don't like jets. And then you'd be a moron. So if you don't like jets, you're a moron. Ah, no, I'm only joking. You're a moron. Anyway, that's a superb looking figure. Because it's a Vikerite jet, and that's what they do best. They make absolute... It's very similar. I'm sorry I'm going to say this. Alright, don't quote me, but I'm going to have to do it. It's very similar to a GoBot in that respect. It makes a great vehicle, a terrible robot. But it doesn't make a terrible robot. It makes a good robot. But an even better jet. And let's pop out the landing gear, which is, if I recall... There you go, there's a little gimmick there. There you did not know. Look, it's on a spring and it still works. Watch this. Watch this. Freaking awesome! I'm not joking. That's how good it is. And then you think the back ones still work. Look at that, look at that. Let's try the other one. Let's do the other one. Ah. That's good. Now that's what you call quality. And mine's not a brilliant one. As I said, you can see the discrepancy between the white and the cream. But that is so cool. It still works. What more do you want, man? Hey? Hey? So, where do we rate Jetfire, Skyfire, as a figure? Mine seems to have a rattling. Brilliant. I love the figure. I've always loved the figure. I love the toy. I know it's not it's essentially a Hasbro product, but what the hell is? What do Hasbro actually do other than nick things? Thieves, bro, they should be called. Ha! There's one you can use. But yeah. What a brilliant toy. Faultless. Now, we're not going to talk about the Michael Bay stuff, because that's another story. And it's one that I don't want to get into at the moment. Jetfire. What a brilliant toy. So, let's sum this all up, and let me say, if you were thinking about buying a G1 figure and you don't have Jetfire, now you know what you're going to buy, don't you? You're going to buy him. Because I said so, and he is, but you will not be disappointed. I mean, is there anybody out there, well, there might well be people out there who haven't bought this figure, but now you will have to go and buy this figure to see what I mean. It's old school, man. It really is, and it's flipping awesome. Bloody marvellous, actually. Bloody marvellous. Alright, so, there we go. Hope it wasn't too disappointing. Hope you didn't get your hopes built up going, he's going to do a great review of this, and then we watch it and go, that shit, I think I'll just jog on. So, I hope that's okay. And I do apologise, but for those who know me personally, you'll know the job I do, and it's a very important job, so, I don't have a lot of time, hours change, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to bore with you. I don't really want to say what I do, but you know, it is important, so you can understand. But thank you guys, I do appreciate your time. If you watch this video, leave a nice comment or something. If you want to leave a horrible one, keep it to yourself. Alright, so that's just Starscream saying, clicking his fingers, saying take care guys, and I'll see you as soon as I can.